Good morning and welcome to this morning session with me, Brother Elo. And I'm happy to have you here with me to talk about and share a bit about the church mission. What is really about the church mission? So since you are master in missiology, so I would be happy to get some knowledge and wisdom from you about what is really a mission of the church today. So thank you very much and welcome, Father.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation and thanks for the occasion to share something about mission with you.
Maybe to start, can you share a little bit about yourself? Your name and coming from where and what is your current mission now, Father?
Yes, I'm Marcus Luber. I'm a Jesuit from the Central European province. Originally, I'm from Bavaria, that's in the southeast of Germany. And there I grew up, and then of course when I entered the Society of Jesus, I lived at many different places, in Rome, in India. One special place, I was a chaplain, a university chaplain in East Germany. And that's interesting for our topic because East Germany is a very secularized region in Germany. So that's some of my background also. As well, the Indian background, so we have a very religious, lively, religious situation there. And right now I'm in Frankfurt, that's in the western part of Germany. We have a faculty of theology there, the Jesuits, and I'm in charge of an institute for global church and mission. So that's the title of the institute. It's on international church affairs. Primarily we are doing research, and yeah, with this we step already into our idea of mission. We are following there in our research. So if you look at our websites, you can see that we have church mission topics, so the mission of the church in research areas. And then you see already that it is a very broad way of looking at mission and an integral way. What does that mean? So we do research on mission and healthcare, mission and education, formation, mission and migration. Of course, mission history, it's always important to see what happened in history, because especially in Germany and in Europe, mission is very much contested and debated. That's because of the post-colonial discussion, and so people are very much aware of colonialism and mission, and we discussed that. And then there are also in our research the classical topics of missiology, so we think about enculturation, intercultural theology. So what happens if the gospel meets another culture, another cultural setup, and so on. And yeah, so I'm in charge of that institute, and connected to the institute is a chair of missiology at the faculty, and I'm teaching there also.
So Father, since you mentioned about the church mission, and you handled some important chairs there. So, can you share a bit about what is really about missiology, and of course the church mission, especially in today's world, the Catholic Church understand and live out its missions like Missio Dei, and it's rapidly changing. Secularized world today.
Yes. I told you already that mission is a contested topic, and I told you that's because of the colonial past. So if you use the term mission, so people will always be a little suspicious. So maybe that's different in an Asian context, but of course you have also here the colonial background. So what we do out of this experience of debate about the term mission, we really try to figure out what is mission, what is the mission of the church today, and like in a secular setup. So the first thing what I usually tell people is, or maybe in the first moment I ask people, so why would we do mission at all in the church? So because we have the idea that we have a message of salvation, of healing, and that's a message for all people. So, and why do we dare to claim we have a message for all people? Because we say, okay, there is revelation. So that's the foundation, because we think we received something, and that's important for people, for all people, and even nowadays. And so that's why we endeavor. That's why we engage in mission. So for me, that's important to have this foundation, because people in the church think, yeah, we are always on mission, but we have really to ask, why are we doing mission? Why don't we leave the people alone? So, and the question, why don't we leave people alone, is of course because of the past. It was sometimes very much undialogical, the way of missioning, more going to the people and telling them you have to convert and so on. So this is especially with our theology after the Second Vatican Council, this is not anymore how we look on mission. So it's I mentioned that already, more dialogical. And then if the secular context comes in, of course we have to tell people, to give them reasons why mission is still important. So we can give them reasons. That's one thing, and that's what we do in theology. But then also witness is important. So it's not just what we think about missions, but it's also the way how we do mission. So people will be still very convinced of the church's mission if they see that we are, that part of our mission is accompanying the poor, accompanying youth, giving orientation, helping people to get their formation, to get a good formation, to get an integral formation, not just intellectual, mental formation, but also formation of the heart, yeah. And caring for people in need and in health issues. So this is very convincing still for the people. I'm also convinced that and that's my idea of an integral mission. So we do this humanitarian mission. I forgot one very important field of mission today is the ecological crisis. So we have to care, how Pope Francis told us, for our common home. So that's also mission. And in this integral way of looking at mission, interreligious dialogue is mission. So it's there we see the shift our understanding of mission has taken. So before we would say, of course, we approach people of other religions, but finally we would look for their conversion. But it has shifted. So we in the first place we want to dialogue. We want to respect other religions and cultures, and that's part of our mission, to foster human, the union of humanity, fraternity, and so on. So an integral mission is we have a message, we proclaim the message, because people need also ideas and need a new outlook, and especially I think our Christian outlook serves to have new perspectives of hope, facing our reality, which is not easy. But in the same time, it's not only proclamation, it's also humanitarian, it's dialogical, body, mind, heart come together.
So Father, earlier you mentioned about the church before they went out to convert people, but the church nowadays is different. It's not about conversion, but it's about how we serve and defend the people. And what are the things that the church needs to defend nowadays in this world? Injustice, war, something. How the church stand up to defend this?
So you mentioned already one thing. One field is sure fighting for justice. So that's very important still internationally. In places of corruption and so on. I think especially if we see the new developments worldwide, so there are more and more authoritarian ways of government, so we need also to stand up for democracy. And that's always in combination, so that's very much at the heart of our mission to fight for human dignity. And that's why we have a universal mission, the human dignity of all people. So be it differences in race, gender, sexual orientation, ethnically, so the focus is also on indigenous people and of course the marginalized, those who have no voice. Yeah, so it's a big program, but yeah, we are many in the church. We have a good infrastructure worldwide, so there is really a worldwide infrastructure, so we should use that. And we have the gospel motivation. So there again, the proclamation is not over. We need people who have a foundation for their motivation in the gospel, a sense for the sacredness. It's not just theoretically fighting for the dignity of somebody else, but to foster a sense for the sacred in another person. And that's what we get from the gospel. And from the gospel we get motivation even if there are obstacles and even if we really have to struggle. So that's the passion is so important. And I think this motivational aspect is important to be seen when I still talk about that we have to proclaim the gospel, because there we find the foundation.
So Father, in relation to that, I connect this question to Pope Francis, who mentioned about the church. He calls the church to be poor to the poorest. So, and how should this shape our pastoral priorities nowadays in our the church, local church, and the high church? So what priorities that is now that we want to do in order to help to proclaim the gospel and help people to be aware about justice, ecological crisis, about faith, so how could we as a Christian Catholic should go about it?
I think there we really need the Jesuit discernment. So and that's very important for me also if I think about mission. So I don't think if we talk of a church of the poor that means that we have to get rid of all the things, means, that we have to seek powerlessness or get rid of our institutions. No, it's a change of perspective. The question is, how do we use the infrastructure we have? How do we use the power we have? And of course, there it's the character of the gospel is showing us a kenotic movement. That's how God Himself addresses humanity. But yeah, and I just repeat myself. So that doesn't mean to get rid of all what we have, but we have to see and to look for the end, for the goal, for the aim. So what's the perspective? Is it just what we are doing? Is it just self-centered? Is it just to build up our institution and make it richer and to look for success? That's a very crucial thing in our pastoral ministry. How many sheep do we have in our stable, and so on. So that's not the point, but the quality of our pastoral ministry and what's the end of our ministry, and is it really focusing on justice? Is it focusing on vulnerable persons? Is it giving hope and orientation to young people? So the orientation. That's then if not everything concentrates on us, but on the weak, the poor, the vulnerable, then we are on the way towards a church of the poor and for the poor. For the poor is also important.
So, Father, the Pope Francis also talks about synodal church. The church needs to listen to people. So why Pope Francis came up with this idea that church must be synodal, and why the church needs to listen to the people and the cry of the poor, justice, something. What are ideas that Pope Francis wanted to talk
about? Yeah, I'm really grateful that Pope Francis stressed synodality so much. Of course, it was his initiative, and we are still in an initial phase. I think sometimes people think so now the pontificate of Pope Francis is gone, so we are done also with synodality. That's not the case at all. So we still have to work on synodality. And what's the background? I think, of course, we could mention things like clericalism, and of course also we have to address the abuse scandal. So this triggered the discussion on synodality and a synodal church. But we have also a very positive theological foundation for that, and that's again the Second Vatican Council, which focused again the people of God and not just the hierarchy in the church. I have nothing against hierarchy. We need hierarchy and so on, but the hierarchy is not there. Again, the change of perspective. The hierarchy is there to serve the people of God, so that the people of God, can fulfill the mission of the church. It's also not a hierarchy having a mission only. It's the people of God who have a mission for the entire humanity. So and this theological foundation has Pope Francis has given it a practical space, a method in doing synodality. And so it's that's why it is important, because we rediscovered the dignity of every baptized Christian, of every baptized member of the church, and And there are a lot of resources, and we shouldn't fail to integrate those resources. And another thing is there now the Church is, by doing synodality, is growing more and more in its universality. And universality means, of course, we just have one, let's say, one way of being church worldwide, but we have churches, local churches with very different cultures and contexts, and so it's synodality it's not about so that every church now, the local church in the Philippines, in East Timor, or in Europe, in France, or that they should do just whatever they want. No, it's about getting into dialogue, into exchange, to share, and that's the first thing we have to share about our situation. Because if we lose the sense for our universality, which is able to face the plurality of the churches, but still is sticking to the idea of universality, we lose also the ability of the church to be a global player. And the church needs to be a global player to face situations like the ecological crisis, wars between nations in so many places. So we need the church as a global player, not based on economical issues, but on values, on a religious message, being able to dialogue, and being able to embrace plurality, but keeping in mind the universal message.
So I think maybe this is the last thing for our conversation today. So it serves as a message also. Because you are Jesuits, no?
Yes.
How does Ignatian principles like finding God in all things shape the church missionary approach in diverse culture and context in today's world? Short message.
I think it's finding God in all things is really summing up, or is somehow, let's say, the key principle, at least for my understanding of mission. So all the issues and dimensions of mission I mentioned, I think it's based on this, let me dare to say, even mystical experience, this mystical outlook of St. Ignatius to find God in all things. So it's a very practical, mystical, like a mysticism of the open eyes. The integral mission. If I can see the dignity is associated with the presence of God in every human person, or what the Second Vatican Council tells us, that incarnation unites every human being with God. So that's finding God in all things. So it's not just looking at a future afterwardly, but it's really dealing with the issues here, right now. So I would say it's the basis.
So thank you very much, Father, for this.
Welcome.
Only a few short times, but it's meaningful for us to understand the mission of the church and how can we help the church, help the people to grow in faith, love, and justice. So thank you very much for your time, knowledge shared in this time. Hope that we can participate more to share about this mission to our people of God. So thank you very much, Father.
You're most welcome.
Thank you very much, Father.
All right, thank you.